Curling now enters the Sports Weekend spotlight.
Hello, Devon.
Hi again, curling fans. We have the map covered, don't we, Call? Hi again, everyone. I was just looking at the roll call and I was in freeze frame because I'm in Portugal. It's 11 o'clock at night. And where are you, Call?
I'm in Banff, but I loved how somebody on the roll call said, Devon, I hope you're rested. Dream on, people. If you think Devon sleeps or is ever rested, how much FOMO did you have over the Scotties?
So much so that I was watching the championship starting at 1 a.m., wrapping up at 4 a.m. here in Portugal. Yes, it was such a riveting championship. And you saw it in the comments here. You saw it throughout the entire event, Call. Everyone was on the edge of their seat. So many storylines. And then, of course, the final last night.
You mentioned the storylines. I mean, it started with Carrie Einerson, didn't it? And the Brier Harris story. You were getting some information on that. I know you've been doing your digging on that story.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we're trying to cover all angles of this and trying to get some clarity. And so, of course, I reached out to the Grand Slam of Curling to ask them, is Brier Harris going to be deemed ineligible for the Grand Slam of Curling, the Players' Championship in April? And this is a statement I got back earlier today. The details of Brier Harris's ineligibility have not been communicated with us at this time. We can follow up closer to the Players' Championship in April. So, Call, that just, again, goes to this air of mystery and secrecy and a lot of nothing, really, no updates at this point.
And amid all of that trouble, Carrie Einerson and her team were able to rally around each other and just try to park what they couldn't control and control the controllables, as we like to say. And they did that admirably. But Carrie's run and reign of 4 straight continues as we enter a whole new era of women's curling. Even though Rachel's been around and so dominant, she's even more dominant. How did this happen?
This is as good as run as I think we've ever seen for a really, really long time. Of course, Team Homan winning last night's title 5-4 over Jennifer Jones, an emotional scene there. But for Rachel Homan, back on top of the curling world, they have had an unbelievable season. Let's watch some of how it played out last night.
One right now with her first. You need the pin. You got to get by those stones, top 8. You got to get by those. You need those. Oh, goodness. Will it settle down? Oh! My goodness.
Good draw here. Rachel saved it in with a freeze. If you miss this, you're giving up 2.
This is her. This is what she prefers. Running backwards. Can you hold it? Got it. You bet you do. And stuffs it underneath. Why freeze when you can do that? So much pressure on Burgess and Lenentine. They have to get it by. Oh, it rolls. Will it curling enough? No, it will not. Rachel Homan is going to win a 4th Canadian championship.
Just that early.
Rachel Homan for a 4th time, her first since 2017. Will wear Canadian colors at the Worlds in Sydney.
Quite the scene. Quite the scene.
That's pretty cool to watch back.
Goosebumps all over the place. So surreal. What an amazing week. You had an amazing final too, Rachel. How are you feeling today?
Good. Just unbelievable feeling. And just obviously I haven't seen any of that. I just got home like an hour ago. So that was pretty cool to watch. Thanks for putting that together.
Rachel, congratulations.
Always making magic.
Yeah, congratulations. This has just been a remarkable season. How do you describe What is going right for this team in this remarkable run? You've played 53 games, you've won 48 of them. Only the third time in history that a team has gone undefeated in this new Scotties era. How do you describe how you did it?
I honestly just all the hard work that we've put in over the last 2 years as a team, and obviously individually throughout our curling careers, and it's just all come together at the right moment and at the right time. For Tracy to perform like that and her very first Scotties win, just we're so excited for Tracy. And someone sent me a text today that it was everyone's first win at a Scotties on the team at that position. So it's Sarah's
Right.
first win at the Scotties as a lead, Emma's first win at the Scotties as a second. Trace, I was the only veteran on the team. I got some position. Who knew? Yeah, Rochelle's first as a fifth, Dawn's first Scotties. So that was pretty cool text I got.
A lot of firsts. You know, the last time we were talking to you, of course, your daughter had thrown your phone in the bathtub, so we weren't able to talk to you on the night we wanted to. But tell me about, like, your kids were here taking part in this. Like, does that add perspective for you somehow, or how does having 3 kids now and hubby Sean add to your strengths?
Yeah, I think it's more just being able to enjoy the journey with them, and they're starting to understand, you know, putting in hard work and practice and seeing us perform on the ice. And I know a bunch of times people were telling me, you know, my little girl would be like, "Hey, that's my mom down there." So as she was looking out, and those are just really special moments. And win or lose, those are the memories that you'll remember for a lifetime, and why we do it. And I mean, they're obviously my why, and our families are just so invested in our curling and helping support us and letting us follow our dreams and be able to put in the work that we need to compete at this high level. It's fun to experience with as many family members as could make it down yesterday. And then obviously all the ones at home cheering hard and have support of us in other capacities along the way.
And Rachel, once the kids went to bed, it was time for the parents to party, and we have seen some epic photos.
Yeah, I guess someone made a custom hat for us, and so he wanted a picture. And I found out this morning that it made Twitter. So
It did. Okay, so Cape Breton next for you. What have you learned from the past that now you put to this year? And I can tell this year you're a totally different team. You know, just so perfect right now and dominant. But what does the past teach you about the present as you get ready for Cape Breton?
Yeah, I feel like we're more prepared this time going into Worlds. I feel like our team, as kind of a back end team with that IQ and all the extra little parts that we might not have had in the past going into Worlds. I think that experience on the Slam Tour this year, being able to be dominant against other teams and see their game and kind of stack up against them, we feel really confident, and we know we've put in the work that we want to go and try and bring that gold back to Canada. And we've been to the East Coast for Worlds before in St. John, coming up a little bit short, but we know what it's like to play in front of all those fans at home, and we love it. We love the energy they bring, the support. We couldn't be happier that we get to compete at Worlds, and loving that Tracy gets to be in Canada for her first Worlds. It's going to be so memorable.
We know how strong you are with the takeout weight, and you were as good as ever with your takeouts and that laser-like throw. But Rachel, that draw in the 10th to the button is the stuff of legends. For you personally to make those clutch shots and that draw and have that touch, what did that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like we could make it. I mean, I sat in the hack and I couldn't even see the pinhole. I knew we had to curl around a rock to get to the pinhole. But I mean, when I've got the two most amazing brushers in front of me, it's hard not to feel anything but confidence and that we can make any shot that people throw at us. And it was just definitely probably we talked a couple times in the last couple of days other people, I think it's like the greatest shot of my career for sure. Yeah, looking at there's a lot of big moments, but making that and pushing it to the extra and giving us a chance to get to the final and not have to play the semi was huge. It was huge in that event and that turning point. It was a big moment for our team, and just phenomenal line call, perfect rushing. We knew we had to just absolutely kind of grab the side and touch either rock and get around it. So yeah, it was just a phenomenal team shot for sure.
So good.
And it was only your third draw of the game too. And that little tiny magic rub that somehow didn't affect it at all. It was so good. But listen, being in your pool and watching you all week, it blew my mind, your run back, everybody playing, everybody on your team, except Sarah, doing amazing run back. So tell me about this power game that's come along that's very, very much like the men. Is this I don't know, a turning point for women's curling when everybody's going to be now copying what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of teams that are really great at their run back game. Anderson's team is really great at that. Jen's team, they connect a lot. And there's tons. Our Canadian teams there's so much talent and so many players that can make that big run back game. And the fact that we were just that much more consistent this week really made a difference in our game and being able to be dominant throughout. And yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun playing this week.
Rachel, I'm just, I've had the pleasure of covering a lot of your career now. And I was thinking about the resilience you've been able to show. It hasn't always been smooth. There have been some bumps over the last number of years. And I was thinking about, for you personally, what it was like to be back on top after having some tough losses, and how you've been able to push through that, because my goodness, I think I speak collectively for so many people across the country today, saying it is beautiful to see you find that greatness again. So how has this been for you personally?
Yeah, I think all those games and wins and losses along the way and the heartbreak, that's what drives you. That's the competitive fire that keeps you going. Those are the moments that those big losses is you learn from them. They're just moments to keep growing, and it's a part of the journey to be able to experience that with our friends and family. Those highs and lows. If everything was scripted and easy, it wouldn't be fun, right? It's not. That's what makes sports so great. Is you just never know until that last rock for curling. And yeah, I think just looking back, we've definitely gone through a lot. I've gone through a lot with family changes, and 2 of the last Scotties, I was pregnant, so that definitely impacts your ability to train and the different family dynamics of trying to figure out how to make that work in your life, getting the work you need done and balancing that family and curling life. It can be definitely challenging, and I know a lot of women right now are going through that on tour. A lot of us are kind of the same age, just growing our families and having to put things in different order of priority. But for us, it's definitely we've had some success in the last few years, but obviously with some family changes, you're not going to be able to be like completely dominant and put everything into it. And we've been fortunate enough to find that groove again and be able to get back after having Briggs in August as quickly as I could. I put in work every day that I could, that I was home, to try and get back to my game, and wouldn't be able to do any of that without unbelievable amount of support here at home, families flying across the country to come in and allow me to train and get back. So this one is really for our support team.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an amazing win to win it for everyone.
We think we hear them in the background too. Look at this incredible shot as well. Just amazing to see the entire family and group shot. Beautiful. Listen, we know you've got nerves of steel, but how did you feel watching Jen's last shot and then you not having to throw the shot? But as you're watching that rock come down, not knowing what shot you might have to play, and then suddenly you don't even have to play a shot, what was going through your head then?
Yeah, I wasn't sure she was going to get by. I thought early that she was going to be on our top one, but they were holding it straight and they're phenomenal sweepers. And when it got close to the rings, I was like, I don't know if it's going to touch enough of our rock. She, if you grab the back of the rock and then it spins harder into the middle, I was like, that could be a possibility here. And then it just hit enough for us. And obviously, like millimeters for Jen. And yeah, it was, I didn't even get a chance to look over top, and it looked like it was us, I thought, from the side. And then I saw their gloves come off, and it was just unbelievable feeling that it's like we finally don't have to play another game. We won.
And perfect throughout. Just
perfect throughout. Before we let you go, Rachel, we're going to bring in one of your teammates who you were celebrating with. Sarah Wilkes is going to join in the party, and we'll let you two celebrate. I know you were celebrating, but hello to you, Sarah. Congratulations. A moment with your skipper on the show. Congratulations to all of you, Sarah. How are you feeling after all of that?
Tired, for sure. Definitely exhausted, physically, emotionally. Yep.
Coffee.
Been having lots of coffees today. Got home an hour or so ago. So yeah, all of the emotions for sure.
Oh, so good. Well, say goodbye to Rachel. You'll be seeing enough of her for a while.
Good seeing you, Rach. See you soon.
Congratulations, Rach. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Good to see you. Keep that cell phone out of the bathtub this time. Sarah, we've been talking about how euphoric this felt for this team to come together so beautifully, so perfectly, and so dominant at the Scotties. What was it like for you?
It was incredible. Just such an amazing feeling to, finish off the week strong. Sometimes you have those events where you just feel like you're rolling and it's like, oh, you want to finish it out the right way. And to be able to do that was just an incredible feeling.
Sarah, I felt the communication from this team was as good as it could get, world class. How much have you worked on that? Because the way you all communicated and spoke to each other in the biggest moments, the pressure moments, was really beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I think it's definitely been a focus for our team this year. Just trying to find those little things that we can do to get to the top, right? And looking at other teams that have been really successful and kind of figuring out where those like little things are where we can move the yardstick. And communication has certainly been something that we've been focusing on this year. And sorry, I'm just getting caught up in these photos.
Aren't they great? Easy to get caught up.
Yeah.
What was that moment like when you guys are walking down with the Stetsons and waving at the crowd?
Oh, there's nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it.
Sarah, that crowd was electric. It's busy over there. The crowd was electric. We've been talking about attendances, huge numbers, packed venue, electric. What did that mean to just have a packed venue for the biggest stage, watching you and Jones battle it out?
Oh, the fans were amazing all week. And to be able to play in front of such like an amazing curling fan venue, like it was incredible. Like I walked out there and I had goosebumps before the game, just like hearing the crowd erupt for both teams before the game started. Yeah, it was incredible all week long.
Nice.
Rachel juggling a third baby, of course, and you first timer. How was the adjustment, and how great was it having your baby on hand? And did that shot with the Scotties trophy? Is he touching the trophy already? Amazing.
Yeah, she is. Yeah,
sorry.
she's slowly getting more hair.
Adorable. Yeah, what was that like for you to keep things in perspective and not get too tired?
it was amazing having her there. My husband was there for the first part of the week, and my parents were there for the second half. And just to have her there, just as a touch point, right? When
Mhm.
things get stressful, when you kind of start to lose sight of things, just to have my daughter there as kind of a way to step back from the heat of the competition was the best. And I certainly couldn't do what I've been doing this year without the support of my family. And I was just so grateful that they were able to be there.
And now to Sydney, Nova Scotia's Team Canada. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. So excited to be able to represent Canada in Canada. Yeah, lots of work to be done before we get there, but I'm certainly looking forward to it.
What
Brilliant.
about for this team, the secret to when it was last year, Tracy calling the game, and this year you flipped? Did you kind of know as soon as you flipped when you stepped on the ice, this feels right? Or
Mm.
was that even a transition for a while? I guess not, because you guys have been almost perfect all year.
Last year felt really good too. It's just different, right? And you never really know what's gonna click. And when we came together as a team, um, that was like a huge part of our discussions was like, what's this gonna look like? Like we're all back end players, like who's gonna play what position? And so it's
Right.
really just about embracing that ability to change things up and see what works best. And that's kind of where our heads were at, and we were all just there to support each other and to be the best team that we can be.
Well, you really have truly done that, Sarah, and we're wishing all of you the best in Cape Breton. Go and do it. I know how
Thanks,
badly you
Kevin.
guys are going to want to do it for Canada, and you've played so well. This is a remarkable run by this team.
So
So,
good.
congratulations, and soak it up and get some rest and get ready to go. And we'll see you in Sydney.
And on
Thanks,
top of it
Kevin.
all, Devin, they're the nicest people.
Truly,
We were
truly.
on the floor together. Commiserated when I kept losing my key. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're all so lovely. So it was great. It's great. Enjoy this rain. I think it's going to last for a long time. You're heard it here first. And Devin and I will see you in Sydney at the end of the week.
Yes, we will.
Amazing. Looking
Awesome.
forward to it.
Kim and I might need a sweeper. We're throwing the opening rock. So if we call you over, just come. Okay, just
Okay, just let me know.
see you there.
That's really why we had you on the show,
Yeah,
Sarah.
amazing.
Colleen
Just to
needed a
plant the
sweeper.
seed.
Because I might throw it like,
Congratulations. Awesome.
Thank you
Great
so
stuff,
much.
Sarah. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
yeah. She'll
Awesome
need some
stuff.
rest. I'm sure they're
Really,
up
really
late.
incredible, of course, for Jennifer Jones. It was almost as storybook as one could imagine, no doubt, and some pretty emotional scenes playing out with her daughters on the ice. And of course, Carol Jones in tears. It really was a spellbinding scene at Winsport for this
Absolutely.
Scotties. And of course, now we're what, 4 days away from more nonstop curling in the heartland of
Yeah.
curling in
Oh,
Saskatchewan, where, of course, Colleen, in 2018, Braguju won his second Brier. It's hard to believe that he has 5 now, and he is
quite a
going
run.
back as the defending champion to Regina. All good things go through Saskatchewan, and that is where Braguju is going to be wearing the Canadian colors. But before all of that, he joins us on that curling show as he gets ready to head west to Regina. You love that city, don't you, Brad?
Yeah, I do. I'm looking forward to it. We had a great run in 2018, and hopefully we could have another good one this year.
Did you watch any of the Scotties, Brad, just to psych up to see like the energy of a final and all that? Or is this all hat for you?
Well, I did watch a lot of it. And I have to say, I thought last night was, to your point, Devin spellbinding. I think they did a great job of celebrating Jennifer in her last game, but also acknowledging obviously the dominant performance of Rachel. I'm kind of happy they played in the Scotties and not the Brier next week because from what I watched all week, they were very dominant and very impressive.
Brad, there have been times where your teams have been dominant. I'm thinking back to 2017, the Brier run, and then the undefeated Worlds run. What's it like to be a team that knows it's almost invincible when it steps out onto the ice, because there have been stretches of that in your career, no doubt.
Yeah, it's fun. And the fun part about it is even if something goes wrong or someone makes a great shot, scores a 2 or 3 against you, you just know you're going to come back and get right back in that game. And, when you have those stretches and they're fun to have, you just got to ride it and enjoy it as long as you can. Keep doing what you're doing. And I would say to Rachel, just and their team, don't change anything because it seems to be working, and just ride it as long as you can. And hopefully for them and for us as Canadian curling fans, they can pull it off in Sydney in a couple weeks.
How have you managed the season? Because it seems like you've picked your moments through the season. And does that help you going into the Brier?
Yeah, the season's been a little different. We haven't played a ton. We played a little bit more than last year, but we've had some high moments. I wouldn't say we've had any low moments, but we've been kind of just nursing the season along, to be quite honest. I don't think we've really found our groove yet, and we're certainly hopeful that we can put it all together in Regina next week. We had a really good training camp a couple weeks ago, and unfortunately our last one we got snowed out. But certainly if we could draw off what we did in that camp, I like our chances.
Don't have to be perfect in game 1 against Nova Scotia. Yeah. You don't have to, just take it. Go in. Remember, the Worlds you started slowly too, Brad. So that's doable. You know what?
I always find the first couple games challenging at any big event, just trying to get a feel for the ice, get comfortable in the building that you're in, the routines that you're going to develop all week. I feel like once you get through the first 2 or 3 games and you find that routine and you're comfortable where to put the broom, that's when it gets a little bit easier. So, I would say I'm usually more nervous in the first game than I am sometimes in the final, because in the final, you know what to expect. And it's just a matter of, controlling your breathing and not looking too far ahead. In the first game, there's just so much uncertainty. So, we're playing a good team, so it's going to be a tough game, but hopefully we can figure the ice out early and come out strong.
What do you make of the format? It feels like I can't keep up with it. So what do you make of this one, Brad?
It changes every year. You know what? I'm okay with it. Do I think it's ideal? No, but you're never going to make everybody happy. I think what this does is it blends the fact that we get representation from every province and territory, which I do feel is important for the Brier. But we also get our best teams in the country there. And I heard them say on the telecast over this week that they had 8 of the top 10 women's teams in the country, and at the Brier it's going to be 7 out of 10. I think that's important. We want the best teams at these events. We want to send our best teams to the World Championship. And I think with the format that we have now, you're going to be hard pressed to run this event 100 times and not have a really good representative go to Worlds. Like, you're going to have to be a really good team that's playing really well to get through it. And we seen that last week with Rachel, and I'm sure we're going to see it this week at the Brier.
How much fun is it with your daughters as you kind of mentor and tutor them along? And how much does that inspire you to kind of keep leading on the ice in your men's game to show them what's possible when you're from Newfoundland and Labrador?
Yeah, you know what? It's been a ton of fun this year. It's been crazy busy. They're playing a lot. And my youngest daughter right now is in the final of the Newfoundland Games, which is exciting. She plays that tomorrow morning. And then my oldest goes to the under 21. My youngest is doing this U15 thing in Moncton in a couple of weeks that I think they're having a national event with that. So I feel like I'm chasing them around just as much as I'm off competing, to be quite honest. And I'm really enjoying it. I do have to get better at it, though, because I find myself when they make a call that I wouldn't make, I'm just pulling my hair out and losing my mind. And I have to get better at controlling that, because I think I stress everybody out around me and certainly stress myself out. I need to understand that they need to learn. And obviously I went through that and still going through that. But it is a lot of fun to see them make shots and do things that, they probably watched me on TV do. And, my youngest daughter made an angle run back in the under 21 championship against my oldest daughter. And it was an incredible shot, and she still talks about it. So it's, seeing those moments and hearing how proud they are in those moments, that's a lot of fun for me.
And did you approve of that run back, or was that one? And when you figure out the secret of overcoaching your kid, you let me know too. But was that run back an appropriate call, or did you say?
Oh, absolutely, it was all she had, and right. If she wasn't, she's only like 80 pounds and not even 5 foot tall. So if she was able to throw it a little harder, she would have got it for 2, but it was an incredible shot. And, they got that 1 point against her big sister, which made her happy.
Nice.
You don't have to worry about electronic handles in Regina. Is that the right call, Brad?
I think so. I think at this stage, we've seen it in Grand Slams. We've seen it in big championships over the last number of years that the hog line really doesn't become an issue. And if it does become an issue, you could always, have that conversation with the other team. And if it needs to go a step further, you bring an official out. But, those handles, if they're not going to work 100% of the time, we can't have them out there. And to me, there's really no advantage if you go a couple inches over the hog line. The real big issue is when someone really takes advantage of it and their back foot is over the hog line when they let go. Those are the things you don't want to see. But, if someone is just right at the hog line, it's not going to change much of the impact of the shot. Like, there's no real advantage to doing that. So, I'd hate to see a game lost or won based on a hog line violation.
Well,
Right.
certainly in the draw at the Scotties, when across the board on one end of the sheet, everybody had hogline violations. It was frightening. And kudos to Carly Burgess from Team Jen Jones, who actually, when the games were over, went out and demonstrated how, look, on this side, the rock's not over the hog line. On this side, it's a hog line violation when you're, a foot away from the hog line. So
yeah, really smart of her. And I was super impressed with her this week. Like, I think she's got a great future ahead of her. And obviously she's got some smarts, like to figure that out and to go ahead and do that and prove it to everybody and make it definitive and end that conversation. Kudos to her for doing that.
yeah, it was.
No kidding.
Well, we look
All
forward
right.
to
Well,
seeing you in China.
yeah. When do you head out? It can always be a little harrowing getting off the rock over.
Yeah, so
winter.
we're going to head out on Wednesday. I'm going to be getting in a little later than the guys, but we'll be there in lots of time in case there's any storms. As long as we get off the island, that's usually the big part. If we can get to Toronto, you can find your way wherever in a short period of time. So right now the forecast looks good, which is nice. Hopefully it stays that way, and we'll see you guys up there this week.
Yeah.
You bet. You never know what'll sweep through the prairies. I know Cole and I were in Pyeongchang when you were winning in Regina last time, and there was that wicked storm. So you never know what can happen. But we'll all be back on the prairies, Brad. Safe travels. We'll see you, and good luck at the Brier as always.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks, Brad.
Well, the reason why I'm still in Banff is I did not want to fly back to Halifax and then fly back to Calgary and then over to Regina for fear of weather. So I'll just hang out in Banff.
Exactly. Well, and somebody that knows Saskatchewan winters very, very well and who is getting ready to head home for a party on the prairies. Nothing like a patch in Saskatchewan. Benny Hebert. It's been a while since we've had Benny on the show. Ben!
How's it going, guys?
It's going well.
We're great.
What is it like to head back to Regina for this? Be like a hometown boy.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I been on the phone for the last couple of weeks with my brother and sister, mom, dad, my in-laws, all my aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews are there. A bunch of buddies I went to high school, university with, and then obviously the whole curling community that I grew up with there. I know I'm going to run into a bunch of familiar faces, and you're never going to outshine the Team Saskatchewan crowd. Those Sasky fans always cheer for the green side, which is what I loved about playing there. But we'll have our own little section there cheering us on, and those are all the right people. And I'm super pumped to go home. I mean, we've got to play a slam in Regina last year in May, the Champs Cup, and it was great to see everybody. And I always like going home. Anytime you get to go to a curling mecca, in Canada and play a Brier, pretty special. And, I do consider Saskatchewan a mecca in the country for sure.
Amen. You're not going to get any pushback from me on that one, Benny. And it must be all of you, your extended family buying all the tickets. I talked to my mom earlier today. She's coming down for a draw on the Friday of championship weekend. Basically already sold out. Not surprising in Regina, which is great to see. But it's going to be rocking. You mentioned Saskatchewan, Mike McEwen looking good in provincials, but maybe, we always love to go to you for some thoughts on what this field's looking like. Brad just said 7 of the top 10 Canadian teams. You want the best of the best at the Brier, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question it's going to be as tough as the Briers. There's been like when Brad was saying that all the top, there's no one there that has a chance to win that isn't in it, so you got every team there that has a good chance of going to represent in Canada. Obviously the favorites are going to be the favorites. Brad's won however many, 4 out of the last 6 or something like that. So he's obviously the favorite and representing Canada. And, obviously, you said Mike McEwen's been playing good. Cooey won a Spiel and Lloyd not too long ago. Matt Dunstone had a good Brier last year. And then we're just going to fly under the radar and see what we can do.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
think Team Botcher ever is flying under the radar. Tell me about this season you're having, number 2 in the world right now, and have been on fire in many spiels. What's brought it all together? Not that it wasn't all together last year, because you were close last year too.
Yeah, we've been playing pretty good, for sure. We're excited. We've been working hard. No secret recipe. We've been putting in a lot of time. Coach Paul Webster and Brendan put together a good little practice program for us that we kind of nailed down as our own coming into this year. And that's been a little easier because last year we were juggling a few things that we wanted to do. But, we came from 4 different teams. I think maybe we thought it would click right away. It just took a little bit longer to us to find our groove. So I think we've been really consistent this year. Obviously, we'd like to crank it up a notch, which you're going to need at the Brier to bring that tankard home. But, if we play our game and stay consistent and play well, I think we're going to have a chance on the weekend. That's for sure. We'll see what happens.
You must be reading my notes, because I remember you talking about process and tweaking and that you were okay if it didn't go, perfect right off the bat. And so that was last year. And you always sort of looked at this Olympic cycle as making sure you're peaking at the right time. And so I wonder, Ben, at this point, is this where you want to see some of those results for all the stuff you tinkered and worked through? Is this sort of now where you want to start to peak and get those results?
Yeah, I wanted to peak last year. I have the least amount of patience of anyone on my team. So I'm learning in my early 40s here. The young guys are teaching me more patience, but it's certainly true. I mean, teams are too good these days to just throw 4 guys or 4 gals together and just hope it's going to click right away just off being really good players. There is a lot of team aspect that goes into it. And we've been working on that a ton, even just personalities or certain ways we want to throw the rocks, understanding our coach. We came from 4 different teams. And so, yeah, it's been going great. But, certainly, we expect to win every event we go into. It's not we don't go into any event thinking about process. And then if we lose, we put in enough work off the ice that we expect to go be competitive every week. And we have been. We have had a really good slam season, a good tour season. And we've had the last 5 weeks just to practice and get our game sharp for the Brier. So hopefully we can get there and catch onto the ice early and figure it out and then sneak into those playoffs and give her hell. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I don't think there's any sneaking with Team Botcher. But I saw you at the Scotties in the suite with your sponsors. Was there anything from just being there? The Brier and the Scotties are sort of different than the slams, and the energy of the crowd and seeing everybody sort of cheering for their own teams. Was there anything there that went, oh, right, that's the thing you remember about it? Or was it just entertaining your sponsors?
No. I mean, hey, I love the Scotties. Every year, you play the tour season and then you get ready for the Scotties and we start watching the Scotties and, about halfway through, I'm like, okay, now I'm ready for the Brier. Kind of gets you excited for that, right? So, but this year was great. So I got, in Calgary where I live, I got to take my daughter and her little junior curling team down. Went down to host some sponsors a couple nights. Me and Mark took our daughters down one game to watch, and obviously a bunch of colleagues and friends on the ice that we're cheering for. And no, it was great. Calgary did a great job. Winsport was packed. I think the women in the tournament would have said it was an amazing venue to play at. It was sold out, perfect size arena. Ice looked great. Playoffs were great entertainment. Rachel just put on a clinic, man. She was amazing. We were making a few run backs today at practice, and when we planted them, we were saying, "Good shot, Rach." We were like, that was good. So yeah, she was dynamite, and lots of good storylines. Good and bad, obviously, but that was very entertaining. And yeah, I'm glad. I'm not saying I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it's over because it's closer to the Brier, and yeah, certainly you get the butterflies going watching the Scotties and seeing all the emotion from the teams after wins and losses, and yeah, gets the hair in the arms going up, getting ready for the Brier.
I don't know what I loved more about what you just said, that you took your daughters and Mark to watch and be inspired by the women, or that you would be turning to Brendan and saying, "Nice shot, Rach." I loved it.
Yeah, both our kids are curling. Mark's daughter's curling. She's getting into it, and my daughter's been playing, so they're getting excited. And they're still pretty young, but yeah, they're pretty good. I was laughing at Brad when he was saying he was watching his kids, and he was having a tough time standing behind the glass, being frustrated. I went to my daughter's U12 event this weekend, and I'm like, line up your rock or your foot. Why are you sliding so wide? And I'm just like, she's 10, but I can't. I'm just like, I gotta cool it. So she missed a couple. She missed a couple on the weekend, and I had her out throwing today. I'm like, listen, you're with me. But
all right,
she's doing great. And they're loving the curling, so it's going good.
I'm picturing you with Brad Gushue and Mark, and you guys are going to be at a Scotties, and you're going to be 60, and you're going to have a beer belly, and you're just going to be saying the same thing. Line it up, right?
Hey, that would be a dream. If I could sit with all the curlers that I curled against growing up, watching our daughters in the Scotties, you ain't going to get any complaints out of me.
Awesome.
Unreal. Hey, before we let you go, there feels like there's some momentum in Canadian curling right now. Benny, you and I have had so many conversations over the years about where is Canada's place in the world, but it feels collectively everybody sort of pushed each other over this last bit. Rachel's on a level, you're on a level. It feels like this could be a big breakthrough year at the Nationals and at the Worlds for Canada.
I mean, you hope so. I mean, it's so tough out there at the international level. If you look around at the teams that you're going to have to play at the World Championship, if you win, Rachel's going to have to go play, and whoever wins the Brier, Canada's still the Mecca. It's not even really close. It's the Mecca by a long shot with depth and teams that can compete. But the very, very top teams of these other countries, they're amazing. They're as good, if not better, than a lot of our Canadian teams. And you see that in the world rankings. They're really, really tough, and they work really hard. And I think when Canada was dominating years ago, I have to date myself, but if you go back to 08, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the years that Canada was winning worlds and doing really well on the tour, and 12 out of your top 15 teams in the world were Canadian, we were working as hard as we had to work.
Right.
And now you see, when you see the Europeans or, whoever it may be passing you and doing well, more so not really necessarily at the World Championship, but on a consistent basis on the tour. And you see the work that they're putting in. There was times when teams would look at our old teams, whether it be a Martin or Cooey or Botcher or Gushue, whoever it may be, and they'd be like, I wonder what those guys are doing, because they're so elite, and they try to copy you. And I think what's happened on the other side of Canada now is you look at a Tiranzoni, or you look at Nicholas or Bruce or Retornaz, and the Canadian teams are like, I wonder what they're doing. And it's just a little copycat game, and teams catch up and kind of go back and forth. But, we got a good program. I can't speak for all the teams. I really don't know what everybody does, but I know what we do. And, we work as hard as anyone in the world, no doubt. And we're putting as much time in as we possibly can. And you're not going to see any, stones left unturned on our team. And I think the top teams in Canada, I mean, certainly Rachel. One thing about Rachel, because I know Rachel well, she is a killer. She throws more rocks maybe than anybody. Like she's not unbelievably amazing by accident. She puts in a lot of time. And so, and I think you see that across the board with international teams and all the top Canadian teams. The best teams aren't fluking it anymore. You're not going out and getting hot for a week. The best teams are putting a lot of work in, and the consistency has to show. So I would say I'm grateful to be on one of those teams.
Brilliant.
Rachel's always been good, and she keeps getting better. I like how you said Canada's the Mecca, but don't forget Regina's on top of the Mecca. Okay.
Hey, I got a soft spot for Regina. I'm not saying it's like the bright lights and beautiful city, but it's home for me, and the people there are amazing. It's mostly the people that I love.
Huddle Up in Saskatchewan. That was the moniker for the 1995 Grey Cup. Exactly. Ben knows that reference, and so does everybody in the great province of Saskatchewan. Can't wait to see you there. I know the curling fans already. Travel safe from Calgary, Ben, and buckle up. We'll see you in the Mecca.
Okay, guys. Thanks. See you later.
Awesome.
See you later.
Thank you.
I didn't know what that reference was but that was awesome. Okay, we've got prize package time. Is it that time?
Well, right. So ahead of the Scotties, we asked for all of you to send in your picks for the semifinalists and the finalists and the winner. And we got a lot of people. But of course, there were some surprises along the way. And we had some final names here. And this is what it came down to. So here are the winners of the Scotties Pick'ems. And look at that. Tish Rudder, mom of Tracy Fleury.
That's great. I think it was hard to pick the final three because there were several other teams that could have been in the final three. I don't know that anybody would have had Kate Cameron over Carey, for example. So this was a especially tough pick. Kate, by the way, played amazing. So
Yep.
that was an interesting team. So they're going to get that curling show swag. And
So make sure to reach out to, well, we'll reach out to you. Producer Soph is on it, and we'll get you those, that curling show prize packs. Call
we're going to have to do it for the Brier, except you're in another country. But as soon as you get back, maybe we'll do the same little.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We were going to try and keep this to a half hour because it's my bedtime in Portugal.
Right. We
And
never do.
You've got a fire
I've
to
got a
relax
fire. I've got to go
by.
a hot tub to get into. It's gorgeous here in Banff, but cold.
Listen, we're going to wrap it up, but really just a memorable Scotties for so many reasons and a lot of storylines and more stories that, of course, we'll stay on top of at that curling show. And Colleen and I and a lot of other curling fans are going to be in the heartland, in the Mecca, as Ben Hebert says, in Saskatchewan. So it all starts on Friday night, that opening night draw call. Your son, Luke, in Nova Scotia versus Brad Gushu. There's a look at the Brier field, a stacked field. We say it every year, don't we? Another stacked Brier field.
But I think, as Ben pointed out, just the who's who is there. So it'll just be interesting to see who comes out on top. Botcher's been good. McEwen looked great winning Saskatchewan. Sluchinski, I'm in love with right now, beating Cooey in the final. But I just think that's a team that a lot of Canadians, I know people follow the points race, et cetera, so they've heard of them. But to watch them win at a Brier is going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And it all starts on Friday, so we'll have a little bit of curling withdrawal throughout the week, but get ready to go on Friday.
Okay, Devin, you focus on what you're doing in Portugal and Scotland now, okay? And just let the curling slide. Get your sleep.
I have a flight at 8 a.m. to Glasgow to cover the World Indoor Athletics Championships.
I curled there. Glasgow's a great place to curl. You'll enjoy it.
A great spot for curling, no doubt.
But you stop burning the candle at both ends.
I'm going to bed.
Okay.
Good night and good curling for now. And as always, buckle up. The Brier just a few days away.
Curling now enters the Sports Weekend spotlight. Gold as Jennifer Jones acknowledges the crowd on her final appearance at the Scotties.